Disclaimer. The content presented in this show is intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of any individuals or organizations mentioned. Statements made about public figures or entities are based on publicly available information and are not intended to harm or defame any person or business. This show relies on fair use of social media posts, which are presented in good faith for the purpose of commentary and criticism. Viewers and listeners are advised to form their own opinions. Circle back right here on the Circles Off channel, part of the Hammer Betting Network, and presented by Underdog. This is the show where we cover the latest and greatest from gambling Twitter. And throughout gambling Twitter this week, we've had some amazing sports through the Champions League, through the NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, which is where we are going to be starting today's episode. So lots of great stuff beyond that on the way. Make sure you smash that like button if you do enjoy along the way, and subscribe to the channel to help us on that road to 20,000 subs. If you're listening audio form, you can rate and review 5 stars. The main cast is here with the A team. We've got myself, Jacob, also known as the Giant here. We've got Nadu in the top right corner as well, Jeff Nadu. We have Chris Dierkes at Flup No Lied underneath in the bottom left, and bottom right, as always, it is Joey Knish. How is everyone doing today? Chris, you're out of the cathedral area of your house. What's going on today? Did the comments get to you?
No, they did not.
He lost so much on the NBA playoffs. He's back. He's in a storage locker now.
That's the real truth. I have to rent out this is a storage locker. And
you know, Mike Vivian's wife was complimenting your background, actually. Maybe the only person who actually likes it, but today she doesn't get to see it.
It is funny. It seems that if you're a woman or over the age of 50, you like it.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you hate it. So that's kind of how it's been for me.
Well, as I said, NBA playoffs is where we are going to begin for today's show, and we've had some all-time collapses pretty much every day in the NBA playoffs, and it gets started with, well, we're going to talk about the Boston Celtics here, because the Boston Celtics didn't do it once, they did it twice. Twice they had 20-point leads against the New York Knicks in Game 1 and 2 of the NBA playoffs in the second round, and twice they have lost that game, but people have been quick to jump on the Celtics when they're up and say that they're going to win. Here's NBA Green Beans at Brett Feinsod saying, you guys really thought the Celtics would lose Game 2 to the Poverty Knicks. We're back, assuming this is when the Celtics are up by about 20 points. Well, Elf brought it up. He said, this is actually unbelievable. NBA Green Beans reactivated his Twitter account to victory lap the Celtics while they're up by 20, and they lost. He literally cursed the Celtics. I can't believe this. Yes, we have had 2 all-time Celtics collapse, so I'm very much enjoying as a Celtics hater. And also, I said it last on the Tuesday show, how does Trent keep doing it? He showcased a bet on the Celtics live money line minus 7,000 and ended up losing. It was $280 to win $4. $4. And Freudy here says, popular sports betting streamer Booking with Trent shows off his live bet in the Celtics-Knicks Game 1 of his stream. So it's Game 1, but still 2 of those collapses. We'll go to you, Flup. You've been locked in with the NBA playoffs. You've been on the wrong side of some collapses as well. You've got a lot of Cavs futures tickets here. Just sum up the playoffs so far and victory lapping like this.
Well, at least I'm not stupid enough to victory lap while the game's up and the game's still on. I'm smart enough to wait until the game is over.
That's fair.
But yes, it has been back-to-back amazing polarizing days, you could say. I was very upset when the Cavs blew the loss to the Pacers, and I was very happy when the Knicks held versus the Boston. I have a lot of anti-Boston and pro-Knicks series, so it was very interesting, and it made it even better to see so many people that I want to lose, including NBA Green Beans. And Fozen has gotten the better of me on sometimes, and even if the Cavs have to lose, at least he'll lose, and it'll make me happy that way.
Yeah, I mean, this is really the trifecta of enjoyment. I don't have a lot of hot takes here. It's just Celtics losing, really enjoying it. Green being losing, really enjoying it. Fosen losing, really enjoying it. So yeah, it's gone, man. And I'm kind of a pseudo Knicks. Like, if I'm not rooting for the Pistons, I'm all in on the Knicks. I don't know. I love the videos. I love the fan base. I love the struggle of Knicks. So, to be honest, I'm loving it. I hope they do pull it off. Although, I mean, I know we don't usually get. Joey K might have partaken a little Celtics series plus money last night. I'm not gonna lie to you. So we'll see what happens. But
Nadu, you were ready to. You're quick to laugh at the Celtics. I love the video, very Stephen A-esque after the Celtics loss. I'm enjoying the Celtics losing these 2 games as well. But yeah, what are your emotions on this?
Well, the Trent thing's really funny. One thing we didn't talk about, it wasn't really on Twitter. Not only does he do stuff like this, but did you guys catch that poker stream he was on last week?
I saw he was on it. I didn't know what happened.
So, listen to this. He was originally supposed to be on the show. He missed his flight or had some sort of flight issue. So they brought someone else in. He had to wait for them to get knocked out. He had like a 7-hour flight and didn't even play 10 hands. He was already out of the tournament. It's unbelievable. I'm blown away at his level of he sat there for like 2 hours and waited for someone to get knocked out. And then he's within 10 hands. But yeah, I love seeing the Celtics lose. I mean, they've won enough. That area's won enough over the years. Portnoy even. Dave Portnoy was gloating at one point last night. And it's always good to see that happen. So yeah, I mean, NBA Green Beans has had his fair share recently of successes, we could say. He's another guy that truly went high to low, back to high. Now the whole activating account, ultimate peacock, man, in a way there. You hate to be in. But, it's funny, Flup. We didn't hear you mention much about the Cavaliers. Interesting.
I will admit, when the Cavs were up double digits, I was making some memes, and I was ready to post them on Twitter. But fortunately, I am not as stupid as other people, and I don't gloat until the game is over.
There are also rumors, whether you can confirm or deny, you're actually that $250 that Elf is giving away, that's actually a burner account of yours. Is that true?
Well, I can confirm one thing. I do need that money bad. As you can tell, like this, I'm renting out a storage locker. I might not have a place to live if the Cavs don't win the East soon.
You have been talking. I mean, you were victory lapping the Cavs quite a lot in the Miami series. Now, granted, they smoked the Heat in 4 games and just destroyed them in Game 4. But
Jacob, by the way, where do they have storage lockers with windows? I've never seen that before.
Hey, maybe he's got enough for a luxurious storage locker at the very least. So maybe we're gonna get to like the shipping containers if Game 3 doesn't go very well. Hey, Garland's toe doesn't heal.
Do the Cavs come back and win?
Absolutely. All this has done is given people who missed the Cavs train a better entry price. That's all it's done.
Would you let me see what's I got the odds screen up there. Would you if you weren't already up to your gills
I did run my numbers, and I do show value. I make Cavs to win the East around 3-1, a little bit over 3-1.
So series looks like there's 160 to 170 out there. Ish.
I don't like the series at 160 that much. Okay. But I do like them to win the East at close to 4-1.
And this, I mean, with 3 of their 6 best players missed a game 2 where they're down 0-1. So that's not like, like.
And Tyrone may as well have missed it.
Okay,
played.
That might be true, but what's a Celtics excuse? That they had everyone playing. I mean, maybe Kristaps, other than Kristaps.
It says Lyme disease or some long COVID or something.
I mean, when we look though at like just kind of stats and things like that, like what can go right, that didn't go right, vice versa. I mean, they're the second best shooting team as far as 3-point percentage in the league. They've shot the ball terribly. You've got to figure that'll even itself out. They're right in both games. Obviously, they have a much better chance than the other team. I mean, I don't know if I'm ready to say Kendrick Perkins, they have no shot, the Celtics, but you have to wonder, I mean, what is their psyche at this point? You now have to, go to New York. I don't have any I don't have any belief they can win.
My only fear as like a Celtics hater is that they still win this series and then they're just even more fired up after winning this. That would be a pretty tragic outcome.
The NBA, though, I guess if the Knicks win, I mean, that'd be pretty good for the league, too. I mean, Pacers winning, though, wouldn't.
I'm sure Adam Silver would not be a fan of the Pacers going deep.
Look, the finals is going to be Cavs versus Thunder, and Thunder taking it in 6.
Hey, one other thing, Flip. How do you feel that you got to watch Seablez celebrate every time?
That is brutal. His number was horrible. It was a bad bet, and to see him parading it around, it just brings so much pain to me. There's other people I wouldn't mind, but not him. I don't want to see him.
One more tweet I got to bring up here from Dan's Picks. I just remembered this one. This is so funny. But Dan's Picks posted, the sportsbook and very big tennis bettor. It says, the sportsbooks don't want you to know this, but you can get better odds in literally any bet you want with zero additional risk by parlaying it with the Celtics money line tonight ahead of game 2. That's exactly what I'm doing, pairing Celtics with all the following. Just shared his bets as normal and then parlayed them with the Celtics. And, of course, every single bet lost because the Celtics themselves lost that game. What a ultimate fumble there. Yeah, that is a absolutely terrible one. I'll move on to our next topic in just a minute here, guys, but a word from our presenting sponsor first, Underdog.
We'll get back to Circle Back in just a minute, where I'm sure Joey Knish is moments away from delivering another horrendously bad take. But first, let's talk Underdog. If you haven't signed up yet, this is the week to do it. Use promo code CIRCLES when you register and make a deposit. You'll get up to $1,000 in bonus credit, plus a gimme pick to start off your first lineup. Tonight's gimme pick is Donovan Mitchell, higher than a half point. That's it. 1 bucket, and you're already rolling. Basically, a free square to anchor your entry. Underdog's pick'em format is quick, it's clean, and it's user-friendly. You choose a few player projections, and you just go higher or lower and lock in your lineup. Whether you're hunting for some correlations or you're just trying to fire on some edges, it's a great platform for getting some action down with a minimal time commitment. Plenty of viewers and listeners from this show have already signed up, and for good reason. The interface is smooth, the contests are live every single night, and the bonus promo is one of the best in the entire space. So hit the link in the description below, use code CIRCLES, take Donovan Mitchell over the half point, and go build something that's plus EV. Let's get back to Circle Back.
Next topic, segment called Bullying Works, potentially, and maybe we bullied Flupp into getting back into his normal setup here. Who did you have to bully to get back in your normal room? What happened?
Well, my wife was on a call, and unfortunately, she's the boss of the relationship. So,
Divorce lawyer?
She's the breadwinner after the Cavaliers lose to the Pacers, man.
Unironically, she is the breadwinner. I'm unemployed right now, so it's.
Dude, you're muted.
You're muted.
Yeah, I can't lie. I'm not surprised to hear that Flupp's wife is the wears the pants. I can't say I'm surprised by that.
Well, I was waiting for Nadu to comment something. I knew that was coming.
Flupp is unemployed, but somebody else might actually now be employed with what they call a big boy job, because Spinfluencer reports here that Jeff Rosa has gone private on Twitter and deleted his dub club and says,
"Oh no,
bullying works." Bullying is a very strong term here, but using it a little bit in a joking fashion, because Jeff Rosa was a NCAA basketball bettor who got really hot last season, decided to use that to sell picks, which were likely not winning picks, and they absolutely were not winning picks this season, selling them on Dub Club. And a lot of people called him out for that, said he shouldn't be selling picks, and he's no longer on Twitter. He's no longer on Dub Club. But other people have said that's because Jeff Rosa said himself, I don't really care what name I have. I know who I am. I won't even be on Twitter for much longer once I get a big boy job. So has actually potentially found employment. Daddy Roseman said rug pulled by Rosa. So what do you think? What do we think like the story is here? Was he bullied, quote unquote, into leaving Twitter and Dub Club, or does he actually have a job? What do you think, Jeff?
I mean, let's be honest. If he had a great season, he would be touting next year. He can't wait for next year.
Right.
I mean, listen, here's one thing that I will say, and I'll date it back to like some of this past week's episodes where there's always a comment about, when Nadu sells picks, how do you guys knock pick sellers so much? I think one of the reasons that people are a little more willing to listen to what I have to say. It's because whether or not you like me, whether you're not like Knish, whatever, we've been around here a long time. I take the fucking hits. I'm always here. I'm not going to just disappear. And I think there's a certain level of quit in some of these young kids like Jeff Rosa. Look, you're going to have bad seasons. Now, it happened to be when he decided to sell picks, but you can't let people win. You got to keep trudging forward. And people, I think, will maybe respect that. People that quit like this, I mean, and then, I think he kind of set the tone that he was going to get a big boy job soon, so it wouldn't matter. So it's almost like, yeah, I pulled the rug and fuck you all for it, and I'm out.
Okay, I'm zagging.
It's real weak.
I'm going to applaud Jeff Rosa for doing what I think a lot of people on Twitter should probably do. And that's been a job. Rosa's not going to make any money long term. And I will say, to your point, Nadu, he was not a guy who could take the heat in the kitchen. He was a guy who, after 4 losses in a row and people are chirping him, then he's like crashing out. Yeah, can't be wired like that. Also, I don't think the guy was any type of, real talent when it came to college basketball origination. So, I think there's a number of young people in the space, as to my tweet, talked to last week, that probably are better off going the traditional career route. Than,
he also put a target on his back. I mean, he had all these people just like praying for his downfall. He made it out like he was the greatest, hope in college basketball prediction markets. So he definitely hurt himself. He couldn't take shit. And look, that's a good point, though, in a way. Some people do need to just get a goddamn job.
He is your classic case of gambler's fallacy. Like, had one good college basketball year and then was like, this is it. This is what I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to make money off college basketball. This is good. And then reality slaps you in the face, as it can.
Yeah, I'm currently experiencing that too. I had a good year last year, quit my job, and now the Cavs can't win a game, so it's kind of unfortunate. But I am curious, do we think the bullying actually worked, or was it other reasons? Like, was it he couldn't take the heat and that's why he quit? Or was it he maybe got a good enough offer from another job? That's what I'm very curious about.
We don't know.
I don't think that, just knowing what I know about Jeff Rosa, I don't think he's like, the CEO at, Microsoft or anything after this. So, but I wish him well.
Well, I will say, and I'm not going to put it out there. I think I am aware of what he did in college and stuff. So look, if he got a job and this was just a placeholder, like my whole thing is like, why not just do both? If you're so, you can't work and do this at the same time. A lot of people do that. I mean, I guess
I kind of agree with both of you where it's like he couldn't take the heat, but also like I think there's a lot of other sports bettors out and pick sellers who could go the same route where it's like, hey, you're trying to force something that clearly isn't working here. Why not just actually get a job? And you said last week, Knish, how difficult it is in this day and age to become a pro bettor and to get your start. So perhaps more people should take this sort of career and this sort of decision.
Next thing you know, you quit your job, you try and get, go in the content space, and you're in Mo Khan's DMs trying to get him on your show. So that can happen. It crashes out real fast and go bad real fast.
I want to echo something Knish said, which was, I think it's just a very positive thing, that he didn't try to double down and try to hide his record and become an even scummier, scammier tout. He accepted the L and moved on. Where I've seen a lot of people just delete the posts and pretend that the year didn't happen and whatnot and continue to sell and scam. You have to give him some credit in that regard.
Why do I feel though he'll pop back up with a but it won't be like he knows better now. He's been through it. Don't share who you are. You could still do the same, and you never have to say who you are. I get a feeling we'll see him again at some point.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and look, if we see him again, we can take back everything said here.
Because Jacob, real quick, when you're in this whole thing, you can always do the whole bounce back time. Let's get it. It's like, so he has an ace in his hole card if he really wants to come back. I think so.
I see this storyline where the corporate world isn't for me. I'm born for betting. I'm born for this stuff. Coming back,
I learned
even
a lot
stronger.
in my time off.
Yeah, clear head now. Had some time off. Ready to attack the new college season. I guess we'll see when the new college season.
I mean,
starts,
Jacob. Basketball is what, 7 months away. a lot of things are going to change
Yeah.
till then, I feel like.
Yeah. Hey, who knows? Maybe something happens with a job. Maybe he doesn't have the same position. Who knows? A lot could happen. But yeah, you're right. Maybe we have not seen the last of Jeff Rosa. Let us know in the comments. Have we seen the last of Jeff Rosa in the sports betting and pick selling space? Because I would say I don't think we maybe have. Let's move to some more sports betting content. We have Pamela Maldonado, a betting analyst with ESPN and other spots, who had some betting insight that was shared on Twitter in the last week or so here. A bit of a long tweet here, but a message was sent to her, said, Pamela, what did you major in college, or what should I specialize in to become a sports betting analyst? And here was Pamela's advice here. Want to be in sports betting? Here's 3 lanes. Number 1 is the better route. You live in the numbers, grind every edge, track CLV, and maximize ROI. Your life is spreadsheets, volume, and discipline. This is a long game hustle. By the way, this has to be AI. Like, there's no way this isn't written by AI. Number 2, analyst route. You build models, maybe even set lines, work for a book or a data company. This is where master's degree in stats, data science, or econ can help. You're speaking the language of the books. And number 3, final one, a content creator with a better brain. You can fire picks for clout or educate, entertain, and spark thought. Maybe it's video, podcast, or writing. So just showcasing different ways to get involved in sports betting. But then this is the better one, in my opinion here. Somebody asked, I got a question. I see these analysts that do the betting advice like blank. Do they all really bet? I know blank. Does he bet big? And she says, stop caring about bet slips. They've become a weird badge of credibility in sports betting community, but it doesn't mean they actually hold weight. It's hype driven, not process driven. If you're not buying picks, bet slips are just noise. Instead, if you're following content creators in sports betting, here's what actually matters. Is there thoughtful analysis? Is there thoughtful analysis with predictions? Is that analysis good enough to sway me either way? Are they transparent about wins, losses? Are they consistent? Do I trust this content creator? Any form of record shared? Ultimately, the trust you place in content creators in the betting space should be built on how they analyze and present information. And there's a couple more sentences, but it finishes off with, don't follow the hype, follow the insight. So I'll lead off quickly here because it's like the points here. It says, is there a thoughtful analysis with predictions? Is that analysis enough to sway me either way? I think with any bet you could make, you could confidently do a write-up that would give you a valid reason to bet one way or another. And I think that's like a misconception with a lot of people that are sharing picks. But what did you think about this, Philip?
Well, this is kind of ridiculous because if you want to be the analyst route, you can just get into like sports content. You don't have to have gambling content. If you wanted to go into gambling content, you got to have bet slips, in my opinion, because your opinion means nothing if you can't put up it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but at least something to show that you back your opinion. I would rather trust someone's opinion that put their own hard-earned money in it than someone that didn't. What are they risking? If you want to do the no bet slip route, just don't bring up lines and don't put up odds or anything like that. If you have the gambling content, you got to have a bet slip. And honestly, the more you bet, probably the more credibility you have, although that's not entirely true because you can make money in other ways. But it does mean that you've built your bankroll up and your opinion should have more weight in that regard.
I'm gonna pull a Nadu here. I can't stand this, bro. I can't stand it. Like, this is, and I had to swerve him before he could get it in. This is the people I can't stand on Twitter. When they use the extra. If you can't get it, that's the worst thing Elon Musk ever did in his life, was allow like the extend tweet or whatever, the extra. If you can't say it, whatever, 280 characters, I don't look at this. This is as you're saying.
I gotta check if this AI. I have
honestly, like, I think she just put together a search, put it in a tweet, and try as like lecturing. Didn't Pozzola also give this? Wasn't there something that he like gave this girl some credit, or they did? So I gotta find it but like that he loves Pam. She's great at this. I can't stand her. She posts everything like she's instructing a class, that she knows all the answers that she just typed into a search engine. Get this shit out of here. I didn't even read. Jake, I didn't even read this until you read it here on the thing. So these are like, I see that. I didn't follow her, but I'm scrolling right by.
I'll give her credit. It looks like it's not AI written, but man, it gave me some. It did not pass the smell test. But hey, it looks like She wrote a lot for this one.
I want to hear what Nadu thinks. I know Nadu always has some very positive opinions on women in sports.
I didn't hate the first tweet, honestly. I thought it was all right. I mean, it is true. Like, if you're trying to get into it, this is what you have to do. But then I also don't understand. Like, I was always told when we were at Barstool, I was always told this is all you need to create content. Just go out and do it. Use the algorithm to your advantage. Do what you do. Yeah, the second one was rough. By the way, how do you even do those long tweets? I've tried. I didn't even know how to do them. And then I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do this. How do you even do it?
You need to have a premium.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh.
You just keep writing, and then it lets you post. I don't get the
No,
questions.
It never
Keep
lets
typing.
me.
You can't schedule a tweet that's over
Either
the
way.
character limit though.
Let's just say this. Can we end this conversation, at least at this segment? This is why. I mean, have I exhibit number one as why we don't want to listen to women talk about sports? I mean, Jacob, if you asked me to talk about lip gloss right now, would you listen to me? If you were, no girl's going to listen to me. What the hell will I know about lip gloss?
I think that this could have easily been a man or a guy who tweeted this, and we'd still roast the person. It's not just the
I wouldn't roast them as much, honestly.
Okay,
why not? It's the same take.
Dude, the reason I wouldn't listen to you on lip gloss is you don't wear it. If a woman can watch sports, like there's nothing wrong with
if Pam was a verified sports bettor, then we'd get. But by all accounts, I mean, make your own conclusion there. But I would say I would lean towards no.
It's like to relate to poker, like Foxen's. He's one of the top male players. His wife is also an extremely elite poker player. I listened to her opinion over hundreds, if not thousands, of pro poker player males before I would listen to her advice because she's actually elite in the trenches. It just so happens that Pam isn't elite and isn't in the trenches of sports betting, so her opinion doesn't mean as much.
Well said.
I'm in agreement on the bet slips part. Like it just showcased, like, if you're gonna talk the talk, like, you need to be able to show it as well. Like, again, the amounts aren't even really that big of a deal unless you're branding yourself as somebody who's actually betting those huge amounts. But, like, yeah, if you're going to be giving out picks, you're going to be saying people should bet certain things. You absolutely should be backing up by verifying that you're betting it yourself. Absolutely. And I think you can be a woman and do that as well. But we'll move on to our next topic here. Comes in no surprise here, but we don't need to spend too much time on this. But hey, it did happen, and in the words of Jeff Feinberg, I'll give Jeff Feinberg his flowers because he did say he wanted to bet that this fight would not happen between Sean Perry and Elf, and it's not happening, and they're drumming up this story that is just terrible. There's a very long tweet from Sean Perry here, but Sean Perry backed out of the fight apparently. You can read this if you want. I don't really care to.
Damn, I was actually hoping you'd read this one.
All right,
I thought it was very funny.
I'll read it. Once I found out that Amanda Vance left simp little bitch boy Elf's ass, he's got nothing I want anymore. She even told me herself the dude is an absolute loser. 24, poorer than ever. She got tired of having to pay for everything. She wants to be with a real man like me. Someone with ambition, someone with a drive to go out and make money, and someone who's had a ton of success. Not some little clown boy. I really hope that the heartbreak teaches Elf a life lesson and gives some ambition to want to level up and be better in life. To me, I picture Sean Perry here like a parody WWE fighter in the middle of the ring with a microphone over embellishing the storyline that is just not working out at all. And maybe Nadu can appreciate the roasting of WWE a little bit.
Why are people that are born into major money, wealth, right? Why do they all act like that? Like they all act like it's like he worked.
They've never been told otherwise. They've been never told off.
Like it's just amazingly tone deaf. Like to me, with him, like everything is. He is the most narcissistic person I've ever seen on here. I've never seen a person. He literally cannot acknowledge anyone else exists in a positive way other than him. He always has to bring it back to how he's better than everybody else. Even when he would come into the spaces. Can you hear me? And he just go right in. Hey, how are you guys? He wouldn't say that. He didn't even give a shit. He just talk over everybody. And there's a few people like that in this space now.
And you alluded to it, Jacob, but I think the real story outside of all the Perry mouth diarrhea that he spit out there is it's because this thing was a complete dud. Nobody gave a shit. Like, honestly, this whole like month lead up of we're going to do it, it was it was over. There was no more sauce. People were sick of hearing about it, sick of caring about it. And I think just it was like, oh, Perry's going to bail. This has no juice anymore. If everyone was like, oh, my God, we can't wait for this, I don't think any of this comes out. But I think the masses have been completely sick of this for weeks, much less the last couple days.
Also, if you had, real quick, Flup, I'll ask you, because you're a guy that bets a lot of money. You're involved. Both of you guys do. Would there be something you'd want to do less? That if you were a guy like he claims to have opulent amounts of money, he does what he wants, he's self-made, would there be anything less you want to do than DM people to give you money for sports picks and like get on the phone and talk about let's print money? Like, I would never want to do that ever. I don't get it.
I'm not really sure I understand that either, because it doesn't make sense. Like, if you're truly winning these millions and hundreds of thousands, and betting all these hundreds of thousands of picks, why do you need the $1,000 for the pick package? It doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, I understand getting every angle, but like at a certain point, like I don't even bet like the $50 profit boost anymore, because it's not worth my time and everything like that. I can't. It's similar to like Perry. Like, why are you going after it? I don't believe the story. But something that I am interested in is, or the Mozzie versus Perry fight. That was great because it happened so fast. They discussed it, and then like a day later,
it's so authentic. Even if some of it was maybe not, or they had some of it planned, whatever you want to call it, it was like you were watching a 24-hour, what felt like a reality show around this all coming together. And ever since then, they've gone the complete opposite direction of like, oh, let's have like a soap opera for a month of this shit nobody gives a damn about.
Yes, and if maybe this had taken a few days or a week, plan for a week, okay, the hype would still have been there. But every spaces it was coming, and it was like, let's talk about Perry and Elf fight for an hour, and it's like we've heard the same thing over and over again. It's getting old. We're done with it. I mean, we have
what is this, a Shakur Stevenson fight? This is fucking two Jewish kids who can't box. I want to follow that for a month. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I mean, both Jeffs, our Jeff and the B team Jeff called this perfectly. I mean, the fight never happened. It was all manufactured. This was a total dud. Terrible job.
I think, I feel like I've told Elf this, and I'll say it again. Like, I think Elf has gotten to the point where his whole life has become content that he doesn't know what's real and what's not. He doesn't, and everything that he does, even trying to attempt to get a guy who's probably the most hated person in Philadelphia right now on his show to talk. I think at some point, and I always go back to this, there are just certain things I'm not going to do to get content. I'm not going to talk to certain people. And it's like, I think he at this point is just so worried about everything being content that he just doesn't seem to know, like, hey, people don't want to hear this. People don't want to hear from people like that. People don't want to hear about a fight that's never going to happen. And then he sets a fight with someone else, and then he pulls out of that fight. I told him the other night, I said, don't you think maybe it's just time to move on from this? Go on home, wherever you decide that's going to be, and start something new here. Go back to the old Elf shows.
Yeah, that's what made it so popular. It was, having a prominent member of the sports gambling community as kind of the special guest, and people would come on and ask questions. It's deviated very far from that again into that everything is content sort of business here. So yeah, I don't know what's next, but Elf's been training a lot. I don't know what's next.
I want to ask him to do something, because I remember in one of the earlier spaces, Nadu said, what are we going to do when we're not talking, every night like this? So Nadu, I would ask, do you think it would still be as popular and not as cringy if he had never deviated as much, or do you think people naturally would have gotten bored? Because you were implying that it was going to get old eventually. I don't know if.
Yeah, but I also didn't know it was going to. He was still like, whether or not we agreed, like even a month ago, the shows, even before even a lot of this fight stuff happened, back when he was doing like the push-ups and stuff, like the shows were still compelling. There was still a lot of compelling people in them. Certain people were coming in regularly. Now it's just gotten to the point where everything's content. And you know what you have to do when you behave like this and do content? You always have to think of the next nonsense. And you almost you don't know what to do next. And it becomes very WWE-ish. It looks very fake. And I think Elf's gotten to the point where, like, again, last night with the whole con thing, like, that's crazy. Like, I hit him up. I said, dude, what are you doing with this? Like, he's like, well, it would be funny comment. I said, no one likes this guy right now. Go back, get out of this. But I don't know how to answer that question, though, either, Flup. Like, I thought it would probably run dry sooner or later, but at least people watched it a little.
Yeah, I mean, BetOnline was sponsoring this fight. They had odds up for this fight. Feinberg was asking for odds for the fight not to happen, but like I don't really understand why there'd be. I mean, I guess it's just people funding accounts and they're betting on this stuff, but like I don't think this fight was ever going to happen from the jump. So I'm not sure why a sportsbook would be coming out to try and actually post odds for it. But we'll move on to your comments just a second here. Let's hear a word from Edge Boost before we do that. Ever had your deposit blocked right before a big bet? Ever needed cash at 2 a.m. for another shot at the tables, but you hit your ATM limit? Listen, I've had experiences like this, so I'm sure you have had them as well. You never know when you're going to get that message about a big edge somewhere. You've got to fill your account quickly before it evaporates, and you just can't get that money in there in time. Your bank blocks your deposit. Maybe you get the deposit through, but it takes 30 minutes for that deposit to process, and all of a sudden, you can't get down on that huge edge that you wanted. Well, that situation arises no more with Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors. Edge Boost gives you fast, reliable access to your funds, making it easier to move money when and where you need it, without the delays that can come with traditional banks. For you high rollers, you can move up to $250,000 a day on your Edge Boost Visa debit card with unlimited withdrawals. This works 24/7 for instant deposits. Never wait for a wire to clear again. It gets better. Every time you deposit into qualified gambling accounts, you earn cash back rewards up to 0.5%. All this for no usage fees and no minimum balance. Edge Boost is a debit account that makes it easy to get started with no credit checks, no minimum balance, and no usage fees. Simply verify your identity and you're ready to go. Finally, Edge Boost is a suite of responsible gambling tools to help you manage your bankroll and make informed decisions. What are you waiting for? Go to www.edgeboost.bet. That's www.edgeboost.bet, or just go to the link in the description and sign up to Edge Boost today. All right, 3 comments to showcase for this week's episode. First of all, we have a comment from @Laura Plichka 2671 said, would like to hear more about ACL from Knish, one of the bettors that we referenced on last week's show. I've followed him for years, never bought his picks, but he seems pretty sharp to me. So Knish, you said you gave a little bit of a warning, I guess, for this person. Do you have anything else you can share with us here?
I would compare him to what I'd call like a less charismatic Steve Fezzik, where he do I think he can? He's probably had a winning bettor. Yes. Do I think he can provide value in terms of his pick service to somebody like that? No. And I think he's kind of from that old school of, you would use a lot of it's been brought up on the show a million times, Fez tactics. I'm going to send a DK line out to somebody when everybody else is that type of business would be, I think, more in his realm. I think he's been around the block for a while. Just would he be somebody who I would ever recommend? No. Would I put him in the category of man of the library or something like that? No. So again, whatever. I'm not going to say he's the worst pick seller in the world. I wouldn't vouch for it. I'll say that.
Next comment here, we have Coldest Wallet, who says, I'm sorry, I've disagreed with Flup on this before. If you bet sides and totals on the most popular / liquid leagues, you will not get limited. From your experience, Flup, can you get limited betting on sides and totals in things like the NBA or the NFL?
Yes, you absolutely can. Only talking about recreational books. At a Pinnacle or a Circa or a bookmaker or Chris, whatever you want to call them, no, you're not going to get limited. That is a true statement. But I'm referring to the FanDuel, the DraftKings, Caesars, MGMs of the world. You absolutely will. It doesn't matter if you're only betting sides and totals on NFL and NBA. If you're a long-term winner and you get CLV, you're getting limited. I've actually had accounts, I've heard of accounts, I should say, that that don't get CLV, win, and still get limited on these recreational books.
Right.
Yeah, I would just backflip there. Like it's if you're betting an NFL game on a Monday and you're closing 2 points good, or college football on a Monday and closing 3 points good on the regular, it doesn't matter that it's a major liquid league. Like if you're winning, they're going to get you. Yeah, maybe I would say, like, if you're betting NFL an hour before post on Sunday, then yes, you probably have a bunch of leeway there, but not unlimited.
And people have always made the comment, oh, it's just like the odd shammers or like the people hitting stale lines. That's not true. I've seen people bet in market or worst in market numbers on recreational books that close good and get limited. So it's not just the stale lines. It's as long as you're a winner, they don't want you there. It doesn't matter what kind of winner, they don't want you.
Even like I'm nowhere near a pro bettor. I have struggles to get down sometimes on NBA sides and totals. So, I mean, if I can do it, then a lot of people can. So it absolutely does happen. Yes. Final comment here comes from @CharlieBonds. Says, if one of the main four is out, so one of us four, it probably would be better to have someone like Jason who has more chemistry and is comfortable on the show. If you pick someone for their first time, they're probably not going to be very opinionated. And the first reply from Gobsmacked123 says, Jason is very hit or miss. His best stuff is A+, and his worst is an F. Knish, what are your experiences with Jason, the content
Well,
creator?
Charlie, I'll tell you why he wasn't on the fill-in, because I would have quit this company. I'd have said, if you're picking me with Jason, I'm out. I do, honestly, that Gobsmack comment, though, I agree. There is the occasional episode where Jason fills in, and he kind of brings some heat. I won't lie to him. Do I want the guy? I've said this before. Do I want him behind the scenes produce my show? No, he's hungover from being, watching the replays till 3 a.m. chugging beer towers instead of at work. So would I hire him as an employee? Hell no. Is he okay when he gets in the sheet sometimes? Yeah.
Well, it also wouldn't make sense. The last time Nadu was gone, but Nadu's not very opinionated like Jason. I mean, Nadu barely has any controversial takes. I mean, right?
Well, he also, I will, if you go back to the L, like one of the things that we don't see much anymore is Jason in there. He used to be in there, carving people up all the time.
Every night.
Yeah, he was, I think when he gets into his sweet spots, he's very good. But I feel like a lot of people are like that. Like there are times in this show where I'm very interested in what we're talking about, and I'll give you an A take. If I'm not, I'm going to give you a D or an F take. I think that's just a part of this business in doing that. But yeah, I will say, Jason, rough haircut, dude. On
Oh, well, after Mike Vivian's tweet today, it seems like you might need to reflect on your own personal.
No, I'm only kidding. I'm a big. I like Jason. I don't think I've ever done a show with him other than Spaces, so I wouldn't mind seeing him. But I thought Isaac did a good job too when he was on. So.
What did I was gonna say? Isaac has done a good job on 2 occasions now, and I think other people could as well. On Mike Vivian's stuff, for bringing it up. Mike Vivian's wife called Nadu. I think she said he looks like a douche. What is that haircut? Which is why we're laughing.
This is the Vivian family, and then they do. This is like the Game of Thrones. The two
Doesn't work.
households
Doesn't
that are
cross.
going,
Well, listen. Here's what
Vivians are going to be go to war here.
I'll show some respect because it is his wife. But I'll tell you this, Mike, you're running a real thin line with me. I got to tell you, I'm not going to embarrass your wife or you. Tone it down, my friend, please.
I do got to say, I think in all seriousness, Mike has a lot of respect, and he does find you funny. He did DM me that today. He finds you funny, but he just loves the reactions you get, and he
likes to egg you on.
Well, here's Mike. What I'll tell you, everybody in the group chat saw what I actually said about his wife. So you guys agree that it wasn't?
No, it was fine. It was totally fine.
Probably shouldn't say it on here.
Switching gears on the guest topic, I wanted to actually put you guys a bit on the spot. Let's say somebody is missing. Who is the dream substitute for this show? What do you guys think? Let's start with you, Nadu.
That's
Any
a
ideas?
great question. Probably Zilbert.
That would have to be a show where I'm missing. I'll say that.
He'd be pretty opinionated, and I think he'd be funny.
What does the options have to be somebody from like the other show or from the company?
No. Let's say anywhere.
Oh man, Flup, dreams. I've got a bunch of people I wouldn't want. You got here as dream filling.
Well, my two dream ones I don't think would actually be good on here. One, I want Penny Beater to be on here, but he doesn't want to do media. He likes being anonymous, so I know he will never do that. But then I would, if you were replacing me, I would love to see Shipper on here, but I know Shipper hates this too much, so he wouldn't want to. But I think he'd be very entertaining.
I think for me, the Twitter user at @IRunSoBad1 would be a really good addition.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
If that could ever happen, I think that'd be an excellent one. But a lot of good candidates out there.
I'll give my guy, what's his name, Prop Dude, who I've actually met, and I know he knows some people. I enjoy his content. I don't know if he's never actually done content. I don't think, but I enjoy his Twitter account.
Peanut Butter, Mr. Peanut Butter would also be very good too. He's got a nice mix of serious and sarcastic and funny tweets, so I think he
gets under, especially during college football season, he gets under Joey K's skin a bit. So he probably would be a great fill-in because we'd be going at it a little time. So, but he's a loyal Hit the Books listener that's very opinionated about that.
I would also vouch for Prop Dude as a guest on the show, though I don't think they would appear on camera. Maybe they would one day. We'll see. Let's go to a new segment that was introduced for the Tuesday show, and it's our opportunity to fire back, return fire at, I call them Team One. I'm a little bit split here, so return fire. Any grievances that you guys want to air to the other show? Any beefs that you have that you want to bring up? Anything you disagreed with? Is there anything that somebody wants to lead off with?
Yeah, I got I thought you guys would have some. I got a full list. One, no, I don't like Rob. I'm not giving Rob the last word on the fucking gorilla versus.
Oh, I was going to mention that.
No, it was that. I'm sorry you had the worst opinion. And he's coming up with these niche scenarios of like, oh, it's an Italian guy and a Chinese guy. How would they all communicate?
He's on his heels. What
the fuck are you talking about? Like, no one's telling you your line was horrible. Like any wildlife expert out there is going to tell you he's thinking it's like a Godzilla movie or something. So that remains. That'll be the final word on it. I will also, the guy wants me you want me to he's like, oh, anytime there's a woman involved, what did you want me to exactly say about the Amanda Vance thing? And you listen, also, Joey K, sometimes his prep is not, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I'll be honest with you, I kind of forgot I put all caps yes there in that Amanda Vance. So I wasn't ready to absolutely slam on her, but the conversation we got her to pull whatever. I like to drink from the bio. So yeah, those were a couple of the fire back. I don't think I have anything for Feinberg or.
Oh, I got something for Feinberg. So
okay, good.
I don't look. I think Feinberg is very funny, and I enjoy listening to him. But every time he has a take, he can't stop himself. He needs to get it in immediately, and he always raises his voice so you can never hear the other thing that was going on, and that irks me so much. Sometimes I want to hear what someone does. You got to have some patience, and it's very frustrating to hear him just jump in and then always raise the voice so you can. You're if you're having headphones in, they're screeching now. That is a little problem. Overall, he's clearly a sharp dude. I mean, he nailed the Perry take perfectly, and it's very funny. But besides that,
so a little bit of production insight to the microphone situation there. Rob and Kirk get a 5 out of 10 on their volume. Feinberg gets a 4 out of 10 because he is a little bit louder.
You need to drop that down to a 2 out of 10.
Not saying disrespectfully. I think he actually, if you go from the first few episodes, he's doing a much better job of holding the take for to let somebody finish. But he's just loud, and I'm not saying that's a problem, but I do have to turn his mic a little bit lower than the other two.
Nadu, you got anything?
I got no grievances. I was fine with the show this week.
All right, I do. Now I just remembered one other I had from the last episode. They were taking a shit on me for my take on green beans and Thon. Well, I got to defend myself here. I didn't think the bet was made seriously because green beans and Thon didn't know each other prior. There was no confirmation. Did any of them really thought they were going to collect $25,000? Like, if I made a bet on Twitter with a random user that I've never met before, don't have a vouch for, that's not a real bet because I'm never expecting to collect. The bet was never real, and Brett generously gave him $1,000, which I do not think he even needed to. Brett looked like an idiot. That's fair, but I don't think he needed to pay the full $25,000 because the bet was never serious. If it was to Nish's point, it was $500 maybe.
Right. That amount of money, you're not just, you need, Feinberg actually had the best point on this one. We'll give him you need more than just like the tweet. You need a double confirmation, like in the DMs, hey, we're doing this. Yes. Do you want to like post it somewhere or any of that? It's not just like boom, boom, boom. Okay, we've got 25K on the line. So no, listen, if you think I would pass up an opportunity to roast green bean if I had it, you're out of your mind. In this scenario, I don't think it's warranted, and I thought it had a fine resolution.
I would just never make a bet I wasn't actually thinking I wasn't going to pay. I would never make a bet as a joke online, especially in this space.
Has anyone ever not made a bet where like, I'll bet you $1 million?
Right.
I've done that.
Maybe I was 10.
Yeah, no, but like that's similar to what happened here because $25,000 was an absurd amount of money that neither of them were going to pay. I mean, no way either were ever fully intending to pay that amount.
All right, well, we'll see what the Tuesday crew can come back with when they have a chance to rebuttal some of the takes from this show. In order to keep up with all the shows, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, following us on your favorite podcast platform. Drop a like if you're enjoying along the way. Next topic here, swallowed by Variance. This comes from J Far Too Nice. It's something that Fluff specifically wanted to talk about here today. So Spinfluencer brought this up at first, saying we want to see the tattoo because J Far Too Nice said if I go under 1,000 units of profit, I'll tattoo, quote, the Tomato Brigade 1, end quote, on my ass. And then Spinfluencer showcase, yes, the overall picks had dropped below 1,000 units of profit. But they had a bit of a back and forth on that. But these tweets, I think, are a little bit better. He says, I'll leave the Twitter spam with this. If this is really the end and now I get swallowed by Variance, then so be it. Good run. If I pick it back up and get back to my ways, I won't get credit from half of you, so who cares anyway? Either way, I'm content, next chapter. And the final tweet here, somebody had replied to him saying, think you're a very likable guy and you've been in the industry for a while. In this downswing, I haven't seen you change your process much. Maybe I'm wrong, but why not try a different approach? Mega lottos and laddered lottos are the majority of your plays. And then J Far Too Nice says, this is the first logical comment I've seen, so I'll address it logically. I've wanted the same thing. Obviously, winning plus 1,000 units is fantastic, but from whatever starting point, minus 100 units is bust. Maybe I was too wide. I got to address that with myself, but trying to erase history is weird. So, Flup, you wanted to bring this up here. Give us a little bit of a backstory on exactly who this user is first.
He's just another classic tout. He specializes in the long shot variety, a lot of SGPs, a lot of like parlays, and he was upswinging a lot. And at one point, I do think he had a legitimate edge. This was like many years ago, but as of lately, I'm not convinced. And he's always like bringing up his past record and yada yada, and how many units he's up. And now Variance is finally, caught up with you because if you're not a long-term winner, you can't sustain this success for all these years. And there's a couple things here that I want to address. One, the being up so many units while being a long shot bettor is extremely misleading. It's like if I made a dub club and I started betting 20 to 50 units on every play, and then like a year from now was like, I'm up 3,000 units. Well, that's not really a real 3,000 units because I could have downswung like 500. 1 unit, it's supposed to be 1% of your bankroll. And if you go down like 40 or 50 units at one point, you lost half your bankroll. Like, that is pretty brutal, and people cannot handle that. You need that. This is why, like, even at betting minus 110s, you can go on some brutal 10, 15, 20, 30 unit downswings. So to float your record and flex your record is very misleading, in my opinion. The second thing is addressing the changing your process. Well, you need to evaluate why you're losing. The nice thing about betting straights and whatnot, if you're not getting CLV, you know why you're losing. Clearly something is wrong. But if I lost 20 units or 30 units or 50 units but got CLV in every one of my bets, I wouldn't change a damn thing. And that's something you have to – it's not the results that matter. It's why you're losing. Are you getting bad numbers? If you're getting good numbers and you're losing, there is variance. Like, you can't just lose. So I think you're being very results-oriented, and it shows that maybe you're not as good of a bettor as you think you is if this is what you're thinking. Like, oh, if I'm on a downswing, I got to change. Not always the case.
Hey, thoughts you, Knish?
It's tough because I actually, in the early days of the spaces, this guy was on frequently. I actually liked him. Like, his commentary, I thought he was, like a reasonable person. I liked hearing him speak in that compared to like a lot of the people that were on the panel. But yeah, it's one of those that also he was on the spaces a lot. Then the massive downswing happens, and now it's kind of crickets from. And so, yeah, I think like a lot of cappers, he was using the space to try and get some more brand promotion in that. And Flup kind of nailed it with the whole units thing. I'm up about like if I went back to the start and did like how many units that I want, and then I was like keeping that like a 7, how many units I've been. It's almost a little. This is more Kirk's bag, but a little RAS-ish where like. Oh, we're up, 500 units from inception. You're talking about plays that were in fucking 2011 or something like that. It's like, well, what? I don't know what you're really getting. Do I still have that edge in 2025?
Something I want to mention, just from speaking from personal experience, since when I started betting to now, my units have increased by 50 to 100 times. So if I went on a 50 unit downswing now, like that is a monster loss that I cannot afford, because if you're not rescaling, then you can't, like, these discords advertise themselves as you can build your bankroll up, you can win units and then increase your unit size. Well, that's not the case if you're going to go on these big downswings.
This is why I'll give Feinsod credit, because Feinsod has been in the spaces regardless of whether he's looked like a complete idiot or not. He may have lost. He may have had to delete his account. He still shows up. This guy, I agree, was there early, seemed all right. Reminds me a lot, Knish, you remember years ago, like some of the old tout sites, like the Brandon Langs of the world.
Yeah.
They would do the whole, like, 300 unit bomb.
Yeah.
Like, also, maybe I'm wrong, but this guy just strictly bets parlays, like big parlay.
He says he's bet straights, but I've never seen a single straight bet posted. I could be wrong with that.
So it's like maybe he just hit one big parlay, and that was mostly why he's up so much.
I will defend him a little bit. I think of all the touts, he's toward the top of being one of the better ones. I don't recommend purchasing him, and I do not think he's a long-term winner. But if you compare him to someone like SGP Vic, not even comparison. It's like disrespectful to JFAR to compare him to someone like that. But he says he's bet straights, but all I see is straights parlay. Well, that's not straights.
Right.
I'm not in the Discord, so I can't speak. I would love to see, counter evidence. I'm happy to rescind the statement, but I think a lot of his biggest hits that he gets posted are parlays, and that's what gets people to come in because the fear of missing out, etc.
I forget who it was. Maybe you remember, Knish. I don't know. There was a guy years ago that used to bet parlays, and let's say he bet a 14 parlay. He would lose the parlay because one would lose, but he would still say, "Well, I went 3-1." I forget who it was. Maybe I'm crazy.
It's class move. You could have just bet these straight. You'd be 3.
Right.
I think that was the whole thing.
75%.
Yeah, it was always like, well, for all the people that bet him straight, which there were people, they went 3-1. It's like,
the best one today is watering it down. If you have like a home run parlay,
Oh, yeah.
all of them got a hit. So if you'd watered it down a little bit, you would have won.
That's what I'm going to do next NFL season. I'm going to take a parlay of all 16 games in the NFL, and then I can just claim victory, because if you had watered it down to the exact combination and actually hit, you would have won. So this is
Well, you could have done. You could have watered down the Cavs bet just to win the first round, and
exactly
you wouldn't be homeless next week.
You know, that's a good point. Cavs 4-0 was a 2-1 payout, which is the same payout as the East. So I mean, that's the way to do it.
All right, let's go to our next topic here. Being wrong is good now, apparently. Jared Smith Betts, who's featured on this show before, does sports betting content. We've featured him, I'll be honest, mostly negatively, but sometimes positively. Don't think that is going to be the case for this one here. The person who believes they know everything learns nothing. As I dive deeper into gambling as a career, the more I've accepted that being wrong is actually a positive result. Certainty is the enemy of growth. Well, I think this will be spun positive based on how I think this will go. What do you think, Nadu?
Can I just say one thing about this? This guy's reading way too much like Sun Tzu and like these proverb type things, because it's like I don't know. There are times where like I'll sit here and look, I've had some viral tweets a lot recently, and like I'll think like, what's the next thing I can say that's just going to be really? Then it's like, but then again, it's not funny. I'm always generally me. I'm just gonna, if it comes to me, it comes to me. This guy, it seems like, and he seems like a nice enough guy. I don't know him too well, but he has had some weird tweets the last couple of weeks. I've seen, and I'm just. And it's always like, yeah, well, like, and it's weird. Like, winning's bad. It's like, well, no, it isn't. It's really always good. You know, I don't get this guy sometimes.
Kirk picked up on this from the other. It was like his type of tweets have kind of taken like a 180 around. Like, he used to tweet a bunch of kind of like typical square content type of stuff, and now, as Nadu's alluding to, he's kind of trying to be like more of like a
Machiavelli.
Yeah, like deep thinker. And I'm going with this very I don't know. Listen, I don't follow Jared Smith. I see some of the tweets come across sometime. I'll leave it at that.
I think some of his tweets are stupid. Maybe majority of them are. But this one, I agree with. I mean, this is a great tweet, in my opinion. You definitely learn a lot if you're wrong. If you can truly change your opinion, that's the best way to grow and improve, especially as a bettor. I mean, no one gets CLV on every single bet. No one wins every single bet. You certainly did something wrong. So you can always be improving, and learning why you're wrong is definitely a good thing. That being said, it's like, it's coming from him. It looks stupid because he's not that good of a bettor, and he's not that, sharp. So if it came from someone more respected, okay, it probably would come off across much better. But coming from him, doesn't look the best.
All right, that brings us to final segment here, the chopping block. Couple quick topics here that didn't quite warrant full segments, but we still wanted to talk about here. A couple of Nadu ones to start us off. At Viva La Stool posted, why didn't Jeff Nadu get the okay to bring a baddie? That was a question asked by Ryan Whitney. And Dave Portnoy said he should have. What's the story there, Jeff?
What's the real story? Because there's other people at Barstool that say he was given they're not agreeing with that.
No, here's what the story was. I was contacted about 3 weeks ago to come to the Bet Gala in Scottsdale. Thought, okay, that would be cool. I got this girl I'm messing with. She likes Scottsdale. This would be a great thing. We go out there for a couple of days. She comes with me to the Bet Gala. We get dressed up. It would fit perfect. So I say to him, can I get a +1? He says to me, no +1.
Who said that?
I thought of it, and I said, well, I'm not going out there for 24 hours. It's a 6.5-hour flight. It just doesn't fit. I would have went out for a few days, and I declined. No one at any point said it was okay for a +1. If that were true, I'd have come with a +1.
Who said you couldn't bring a +1?
The guy that reached out, basically this guy, Jack McCarthy, who handles. Now, again, I will also say I still could have went, but to me, 6.5 hours alone for a 24-hour period to me, I didn't feel was worth it.
Well,
so I guess you could say there was more than just that, but that was a growing point in why I didn't go.
Well, somebody has another theory here. JFK_Chicago says Jeff Nadu can somehow never get on a flight to Barstool events, and if you connect the dots, because he's on a no-fly list. But that's just me.
Yeah, this continued rumor that is actually starting to affect me personally. This is a fucking rumor. I don't know where it comes. In fact, I know the shitbag that it came from. I'm not on the no-fly list. I've actually shown airline tickets. People still don't buy it, but I got a little something for some of them in a few weeks. I'll take a video of me on a fucking plane and say hi to the fucking stewardess and he fucks up. But you know, the funny thing is about these shitbags, that still wouldn't matter. It's AI or it didn't really happen. I can't ever win anything with some of these fucks, especially that scumbag, JFK Chicago. He's one of the bigger scumbags on Twitter.
I can't wait for the video on the plane.
I'm excited for this. I gotta ask Nadu.
You guys realize if you go Google Jeff Nadu no-fly list, it says I'm on the no-fly list.
Yeah, I know. I've done it. Yeah, that's why. Because I asked.
Not gonna lie, I thought there might have been some truth to it because I've seen it so much. I feel bad that it's affected me negatively because I didn't realize it.
I look forward. You're gonna be on the plane. You're with your girl. You're gonna have a Stella with you. It's gonna be a really great video.
No, but then it will be he probably just got off it, or this is his first day off of it, or he bought her, or she's not real. She's actually a guy. They always move the fucking.
If you type it into Google, AI says yes. Jeff Nadu has confirmed being on the no-fly list. In a tweet, he stated, "Yes, I'm on the terror watch list," according to a tweet posted by Jeff Nadu.
There might have been a night where I joked around and agreed, but I'm not on the fucking no-fly list.
All right, glad
I would
we
have gotten a
cleared up here.
passport if I was on the.
Wait, are you gonna be at Bet Bash?
I'm not sure, but I don't know that I've been invited. But yeah, that would be another good.
Yeah, because then if we saw you there, then it'd be nice.
They'll say, "Oh, he drove 6 days. He drove."
What the fuck?
Well, I'll believe you when I see. I believe you now, but I'll believe you for sure when I see the video on the plane. Next up, we've got from Michael Girdley here at Girdley. Hopefully, I said that correctly. Gambling has changed pro sports forever. Here's how. I was at a Spurs game. A stranger sitting next to us had a big bet that the opposing team's star would score more than 25 points. The star was at 21 points with 3 minutes to go. They were way up, so he wasn't trying hard. At a quiet moment, we yelled to him, "This guy needs you to get 26 to win 10 large." He turned to us and calmly said, "I got you." Then he took the next 4 shots, finished with 27, and hit the bench for the night. Is that bad or good? I don't know, but we cheered like hell. Knish, you quote tweeted this as things that never happened. What was? Why was that your reaction?
This is maybe the cringiest, most cornball tweet I've seen in regards to that. Like somebody that obviously has no involvement in betting whatsoever. I don't know why he even made up this story, to draw in some views or takes or any of that. I don't know where he got this from. If you've ever seen any videos of NBA players on the bench, they're 100% ignoring anything around. Like no fan is like, no one's getting into them and being like, the entire story is like absolute bullshit.
Well, apparently he's on the court in this story as it's happening.
I will say and this is a lame story. It probably didn't happen. Humble brag. When I was a kid, we had season tickets to the Sixers right behind the media. So when they walk up, and I was there every week. So I would get to know, I had refs that would talk to me, players would talk to me. Shaq used to say hello to me. I was a kid. I used to wave hi.
Is that in the game or before the game? Because that's very different.
This was when they'd walk up to when LeBron does it was
it's a pregame.
That's very, very different. Pregame is very believable. He's saying this was in the game. And to Jacob's point, when they're in the game, they're on the zone. Did anyone talk to you during the game?
No, I do remember one specific, and I don't know if you guys know this ref. There's a ref, Derek Stafford. He was a pretty new ref at that time. I was jumping on him one night. I was maybe 13 or 14. He actually told me as he ran on the court to shut up at one point. I remember once he told me to shut up, and my dad laughed, and I stopped. But Udonis Haslem, I used to screw with him all the time. I used to, break his balls and he would turn around and talk to me. But yeah, the whole this is during the game, yeah, I got you. And then he goes and takes a shot, got you. Like, that's corny. Who is this guy, by the way? What is he?
I actually don't know.
Well, I don't know. He was like he was like replying to everybody that replied to my quote tweet too. Like it was obviously he was doing it for.
Oh, wait, where did it, like, why did he?
Looks like he's just an entrepreneur.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is a classic engagement. I mean, he forgot and then the stadium erupted in cheers at the end. I mean, that's like the classic tweet.
Oh, he's got some rough ones here. Jesus.
I'm just like, because like the way this is described, like it'd be like what would be the game state? 3 minutes left for a player just take it upon themselves to make the next 4 shots. Also,
kind of seems like match fixing too, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is just definitely illegal. Like,
also, like if they have 21, what is the combination to make 4 shots and finish with 27 points?
2 threes, I guess.
You made the next 4 shots.
The next 4 shot. Yeah, wait. Yeah, does this even make sense? That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of this is non-believable to me.
Also, real quick, the fact that we cheered like hell is pretty funny too. We cheered like hell.
Next tweet comes from Sharp Clark NFL. Sharp Clark has done some content on the Forward Progress YouTube channel, which is the Hammers NFL content division, but does not like when managers in baseball games go all out to yell at umpires. It says, gotta say, I don't love the whole aggressive manager yells at umpire in the baseball thing. Feels like a remnant of toxic masculinity we could move past.
This has to be...
Well, this is a terrible take because, Knish, maybe you can speak on this, but like, there's definitely ref bias and home court advantage baked in. And that's mostly due to the animosity of the fans and the coaches yelling at the refs and umps, depending on the sport. I actually think it would be negative expected value and hurt the team if the managers didn't yell at the umps because they might not get as many future calls in their favor.
And it's entertaining. Like I love it. It's fun to watch. I love when the manager goes out. I gotta tell
you guys actually take this tweet serious. This is obviously like
I gotta tell you,
this is 100%
if you know
serious.
Sharp Clark's history.
If this is serious,
this is 100% serious.
Yeah.
Well, Sharp Clark, you're a fucking pussy. Grow the fuck up. Get over your fucking self. Holy fuck, dude.
He is definitely.
Did you take your tampon out today, bro? Seriously. What the fuck are we talking about here?
I never looked at a manager yelling at a ref and thought toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity.
No, exactly. Jesus Christ.
I do agree with Flup a little bit though. From playing sports, I played sports in university. It's not about changing the call that happened. It's about getting the next one. And that's what the communication, even somewhat abrasive communication with a ref can get you. Because the next time there's that 50-50 sort of sequence, a lot of the times that's going to sway in your favor the next time.
And dude, you might know this. Was it Super Bowl or was it one of the championship games where there was clearly a makeup call? Like there was a blown call and then the next play or a couple plays later, there was clearly a makeup call. I feel like it was this Super Bowl, but everyone knew what was going on.
Oh, yeah, it happens every game.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember exactly, but I remember that sort of thing happening. And they happen. They happen for sure.
Yeah.
I'm
blown away. That's a real tweet. That's I have to I have to comment on that with on Twitter as well. Holy fuck.
Last one here. I audibly laughed when I saw this tweet. So I'm happy we got it included. The last tweet from Chuck. Is it Chuck Bass? Chuck Bass? What is it?
Bass.
Get roasted. Chuck Bass. Chuck F. Bass says, wife is furious because on our son's birthday, the actual day he was born, we were looking at photos of the day he was born, and there's a random screenshot of the Lions depth chart mixed in because I was talking shit to some casual online. It's a grid of photos, 9 of which are photos from the hospital, from the delivery room, and in the middle of it is, yes, the Lions depth chart sandwiched in here. Have you guys ever had such an occasion where maybe you're in a serious environment, but you're engaging in online beef? Has anything like this happened to you guys?
This was so funny because I've done this before, and I've had this experience where I'm in a real setting that's kind of serious, and I'm scrolling through Twitter. I get pissed off, and I've got to take a break and make sure I assert that they were wrong, and I definitely laughed out loud at this one. This was great.
I had to like make sure that I like did a double take to make sure it wasn't like stolen from my camera roll, that there was a random Lions depth chart and some photos. So yeah, I agree. And this guy, I never heard of him. I had to look to see like, is this even like a Lions guy? He's not even. He's like a old Roto World type guy that was just obviously arguing some Lions stuff. So yeah, I'll give Chuck the props. This was solid.
I would. How often do you guys delete photos? Because like this photo wouldn't last like more than a couple weeks on my phone. I would probably go through and clean up the reason you guys not do that.
I don't think I've ever deleted any of that.
I'll do like a mass deletion maybe once a year.
How many photos do you have in your phone, Jacob?
Oh God, like.
Well, I think it might be different for you, Jacob, because you're actually like in a lot of content, so you might have tons of photos, and you might not have enough space.
Yeah, I guess it's when there's videos on your phone like that are getting posted, it racks up space quite a bit. I do it mostly for storage space. Maybe I'm showing that I can't afford a good enough storage plan, but I'm scrubbing like every couple of weeks, and I'm still running to storage spaces from time to time. But I don't know. Let us know in the comments if you're somebody who deletes often or not. But
either way, congrats to him on the birth of his child.
Yes,
very true.
And but what did not take precedent over an online argument over the Lions depth chart. That's what sports really means to everybody. But that'll do it for the show. Anything you had an opinion on, anything you want to refute, please comment something down below. Maybe you agree with something, maybe you disagree, and hey, if it's good enough or bad enough, maybe it'll feature on next week's episode. But you don't have to wait a week for more Circle Back content. We're back on Tuesday with Team 1. I'll be included as well in a production role alongside Rob Mazzola, Kirk Evans, and Jeff Feinberg as normal. So make sure you tune in, subscribe to the channel, help us on the road to 20,000 subs, drop a like if you've enjoyed, take a moment to rate and review 5 stars if you're listening in audio form, and we'll see you again next time, everybody.